Hi, folks. Unfortunately, my mate Vaughan Winiata, you might remember him and I always do our posts together, and he's a dear friend. But look what he's done. He's put a publication out in the local government magazine. And that publication, I've got some serious concerns for. I don't know what's happened to Vaughan. I think he's lost his way. But I think what he's saying is that it's all about the small business community. And he's saying how the current minister is such a, well, let me quote him. I just can't believe this. He's just praising him to how no previous small minister has come even close. 20 clear, actionable points. Now, look, I've read the document he's referring to, and he's saying that this minister's done outstanding stuff. What's he done for COVID? Nothing. And look, I don't know. I'm upset about. Oh, hang on a minute. Guess who's turned up? I thought he wasn't coming on for this. Hang on.
All right, Max, it's all on, bro. You're calling me out. Let's get it on. You can't say that. Hey, you're calling me out, so I'll put my gloves on. Let's get on. In fact, no, bro, it's gloves off. Let's go bare knuckles, right? And as you can see, those gloves are standard issue national blue, right? Actually, Judith wants them back. You want your gloves back, Judith?
It's time she put them on, I think. But anyway, right?
Don't forget to know when to throw the towel in.
Don't you try and maneuver the subject off it. You've got something to answer here. You're claiming that this bloody minister's doing a great job, and during COVID, we've done nothing but suffer the small business community. Yeah, there's the serious face. Good, we've got him pinned now.
I'm listening. You've got my attention.
You're conceding defeat here, and you can apologise to everyone if you want to.
All right. Well, I'll have a little. Can I hold the floor now? Is that okay, Max? So okay, I'll put my cards on the table because you're right. I was pretty glowing of the small business minister in that local government magazine article. Look, my political leaning is actually multi-party National Party. So what the hell am I on about and what's going on? And it wasn't a paid article. And as you can see, it was enough to make me want to put my gloves on, but Jude needs them more than me. Look, it all comes down to, in 2004, the Labour Party was dead to me after the foreshore and seabed debate. This Labour Party is a little bit different in the sense that, and actually, we'll get into it in terms of what is it why am I calling them out? And I think that the key thing here is that there's not a business bone in this party, yet Stuart Nash is the business minister. So you've got to understand that he's actually a bit of a black sheep inside that party, for want of a better phrase. And I think that in terms of claiming he's the best small business minister, and a Labour minister, WTF. Well, let's start from the top. Minister Nash didn't have a lot of competition. Pretty much everything that he went before him was missing in action and was Casper the Ghost. So seriously, there's not one name you can throw on the table that was a small business minister that left the mark. But I'll stop there because there is a number of things that I want to throw in as to why I say what I say. So I'll let you have a turn now, Max.
All right. The small minister, the small business minister, has been very difficult to see. Now, look, we haven't seen much of him. And look,
dark days for many people running businesses in New Zealand. And fair to say, we haven't seen a lot of the Minister for Small Business, Stuart Nash, lately, but he does join me now from Napier.
The health response is by far the best economic response. We talk about based approach. It's a health-based approach, and is that the health-based approach? The health response is by far the best response.
And you have given more than one COVID resurgence payment to businesses, but the criticism there is that it just doesn't cover the rent and the insurance. It's not enough.
If you have a look at all the figures from all the major banks, what they're forecasting is about a 6% hit and about a 7.5% and 8% increase.
Are you sitting back and saying, look, this is as much as I support that I can give as a small business minister? Is that it?
No, I mean 4 or 5 months ago they were coming to us and saying that they did not have enough workers.
But your biggest region is Auckland.
The country, be clear on that.
Well, Vaughan, I don't know. We could go through more. There's more of that, and I think it says it all. But at the end of it, it says, "Have you got the backs of small business?" And he goes, "Yes." And look, I've got to say, I don't think he has.
Okay. I'll finish off with what he said there about a health-based and risk-based response, because that's actually where we're at right now, which is pretty business unfairly fair. But the second thing I was going to say in terms of he hasn't had a lot of competition in terms of small business ministers. It's been a part-time portfolio for most of his predecessors. what we got in 2018 when he first sort of got in there and got the portfolio was Small Business Council and the Small Business Strategy, which sits on the MB website. And that's what I referred to about the 20 action points. Love it or hate it or whatever you think of it, it's a start. And so I think that the reality is what's come out of that is 3 or 4 things that I think are really important. Like, for example, faster payment terms by government departments. Under National, it was 60 days that MB and everybody else would pay bills. Now it's 7 days. So in terms of cash flow, that's a plus. One of the other big ones is the 5% procurement target for Māori. None of the other parties would have had the courage to do that. Their supporter base would have caused too much.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Yep.
Of the 20, there's some things that haven't happened. They've really pushed hard on the digital enablement, but that government procurement one is a genie that's out of the bottle that no other party will be able to stuff back in now. And I guess that this is the thing, is that if I was writing policy for the National Party today, there are some things that this party has done that I would keep. There are some things I wouldn't keep. And I think that's the key from a small business community. It's actually not about the government that's in of the day. It's looking across all of the parties and saying, what can you pick from each of them that we can use to make a good small business portfolio? And, just what Stuart said in that Nation interview last Sunday about the health-based, risk-based response, we just have to accept that this government, that's the way they're going to go. And the reality is of that, and we've said it before here, the collateral damage is small business failures. He's the minister that's the face of that. He's the one that gets thrown under the bus by cabinet. He's the one that's got to go out there and face hospitality, face tourism. It's all pretty ugly. The reality is, in principle, their strategy is right, but let's not, what he has to own and they have to own, small businesses are going to die. They really are. That's a fact. So that's kind of where we are now, particularly here in Auckland, where we are, where it's still level lockdown 3. And I see Euros closed on the viaduct, Saxon and Parole, another good restaurant in town is closed. Boom, boom, boom. They're falling like dominoes, Max.
I know, but they've done less this shutdown than they did before. So, and we don't hear a word from them. That's the first and only interview I've heard from this minister at all since lockdown. And you've got to say, what's he doing for us? And we don't see publications. We don't see anything.
Max, and in terms of advocacy, we've called out the Business New Zealand and a lot, chambers, they don't really say anything that you can smell the sweat for small business. But if we gleaned across all of the parties, whether it was ACT or Green or National, none of them are screaming out, we champion small business. Sure, they make a little bit of comment. I think Andrew Bailey was probably the strongest with his recommendation that he spoke to us about leases, commercial leases, landlord tenancy type stuff. But by and large, most of it's kind of like still very, very part-time. Someone's got to stand up and say, this is what we would do. But I won't hide from the fact, there it is. There it is. Well, look, there wasn't one under
a lot of pages, but there's only one page that refers to the 20 items. And there they all are. You've highlighted all the dollar ones, which is over 50%. They want more money, more money, more money, more money, more money. But the fact that he's only got 2 of them, and this has been here since 2017 when he took over. Now, is that a high performance minister?
Yeah, that was put forward in 2019 July. That's the date. But you're right. When from 2017 through to 19, that was work in progress. And look, this is great. I've got a copy in the office here too, Max. Read through it. You may not agree with everything in that strategy, but at least it's a strategy. There wasn't one prior. And there'll be people that will watch this video, like my great friend Ken Cho, others that will jump in here and probably disagree, but I'd ask them to go and find evidence that there was anything. Before this government, small business wasn't visible.
He adopted this as a strategy, and that's what it's called, a strategy paper. And you've been able to identify 2 out of the 20 items on that he's actually achieved. In how many years? 4 years. 4 years. I've got to say, I don't rate that as a high performance.
Hey, Max.
Look, to be fair, though,
you're right.
I'm going to back you a little bit here. He's up against the finance minister and a prime minister that will probably push him back and say, we've got no time for small business.
This is great, corridor, Max, because you're right. Even if there was only one thing out of those 20 that was rubber that hit the road, that's one more thing that everybody else before him had done. So you might look at it like we've got so much more ground to cover, but the way I see it is that what do we glean from that lives in the next, term, regardless of who governs? Because from a small business community, this is the type of clear communication that we want. We'll tell you what works for us. You know, you're the doctor, we're the patient. This is the medicine that we want. And the other thing is, we're not looking for government to underwrite and make us viable. All we're looking for them to do is create an environment that is as good as they can influence to their degree. From there, we're on our own. We're entrepreneurs. We take the risks. And if our businesses fail, boo-hoo-hoo. That's our problem, right? It's, you know, it's just so long as none of the things that government is doing is expediting that unnecessary. A health response has collateral damage. There is no way that no businesses were going to fail through this. Many more are going to go down the Googler.
Righto, Vaughan. Folks, you be the judge. Who won that argument, eh? Did he?
Well, what I was going to say...
Who flogged 90% of the screen time too? My God.
Yeah, well, that's right. I'm sucking all the oxygen out of the room, but I'm going to crown myself the heavyweight small business champion.
And again, folks,
coming up.
Nobody was hurt in the making of this video, including Vaughan.
Great chat, Max. Really appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, same too, mate. Catch you soon. Bye.